Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel where we discuss about programming languages and other fun stuff. Today we will build a Brainfuck interpreter using Node.js, so let's get started. Now I know that you may be wondering what the hell is Brainfuck? Well, Brainfuck is a Turing-complete esoteric programming language that only uses 8 characters, and let me explain to you how it works. So, as I said before, Brainfuck only uses 8 characters to work, and it uses them for executing certain operation on a tape of a fixed length. That tape contains a fixed number of cells, where each cell contains 0 as initial value. We can run a command on one cell at a time by using one of the 8 commands that Brainfuck provides to us. Those commands are the greater than sign, the less than sign, the plus symbol, a dash, a point, a comma, and then 2 square brackets. And let me explain those commands in detail. First thing to know is that we have a pointer which will start on the first cell of our tape. Then we can increment the value of the cell we are pointing to by using the plus symbol. So if we now write 3 plus symbols in a row, Brainfuck will increment the value of the cell we are pointing to by 3. So now we have a number 3 inside the first cell. We can then use the minus symbol for decrementing the value inside the cell we are pointing to, and in that case we can bring the value back to the original 0 value for that cell. We can then move to the next cell by using the greater than symbol. In that case we will be moving to cell number 2, and we can increment the value of that cell. So we will increment that by 2, bringing the value from 0 to 2 inside that cell. We can then move back to the cell number 1 and, let's say, increment again its value by 2. So we will end up with the first 2 cells having the exact same value, which is 2. We can also use the period sign for printing a value of a given cell to the standard output, and we can also use the comma for storing user input. In that case, we will be storing the number 11 inside the first cell. We can then use an open square bracket for starting a loop and a closed square bracket for ending a loop, but that makes things a bit harder to be explained, so let me show you an example program for them. So let's say that we want to print the letter A on screen. We know that the letter A is represented using 97 in ASCII, so we want to store the number 97 inside of one of our cells. We could easily increment the value of a given cell by writing a plus symbol 97 times, but as you may have guessed, this is not the most convenient way for achieving such result. In fact, we can achieve that result by using loops. And let me write a very simple program in Brainfuck for incrementing 97 times a given cell using loops. So, as always, we will start on cell number 1. And we will increment the value of that cell by 5. So we will end up by having the number 5 inside our first cell. Then we will enter the loop, and as a first action to be executed inside of the loop, we will be moving to cell number 2. Once we are inside cell number 2, we will increment its value by 19. At this point, we will be moving back to cell number 1 and we will decrement the value of that cell by 1. So cell number 1 now will have a 4 as a value. Brainfuck allows us to exit a loop only if the cell we are on has a 0 as a value. So now we have a 4, so we'll need to execute another iteration. And we will be incrementing the second cell by 19 again. And we will do that until our cell number 1 will reach 0 as a value. Okay, now let me go fast forward. As you can see, now the cell number 1 contains a 3, so we will be incrementing cell number 2 by 19 again. Then back to cell number 1, and the value now is 2. We will be incrementing cell number 2 again by 19. Now cell number 1 is set to 1. incrementing to 95, cell number 2, and now finally we have the cell number 1 containing 0, so we can escape the loop, move to the next cell, and then increment by 2. After we increment by 2, we can finally print 97 to the standard output and use a built-in function that we will be building in just a second for printing the letter A on screen, such that we translate the number 97 to the letter A. So now we'll be moving to Replit for writing a Brainfuck interpreter using Node.js, so please stay tuned and write it with me. We will start by creating a new function called compile, which will accept a string as the only argument, and that string will represent the program we want to interpret. Inside that function, we will be creating a new array where each element inside of that array represents a cell for our tape. For the moment, we will have a tape of a fixed length of 10 elements, but we can always increase its value in the future. We also instantiate a new variable called pointer, which will start from 0, because this is the pointer for our tape, and as we've seen before, it will always start from 0. Now we want to loop over every single charter of our program and increment or decrement or move the pointer depending on the charter we are looping over. Okay, so now we can test if it's working by just typing a simple Brainfuck program and trying to log it to the console. Okay, as you can see, we are now returning the whole tape. So we are moving to the third cell and incrementing its value by 2. So we do expect to see an array of 10 elements and the third element of our array to be equal to 2. Let's run this. And yeah, as you can see, the output is what we were expecting. Now, let's implement the period sign and the comma. Okay, so before moving on, I would like to test if both those new commands are working fine. So let's try to just log the tape. So as you can see, we are moving to cell number 3. We are asking for user input, and then we are printing the input to the console. So I do expect to see the output here of the given cell we are on, and then the whole tape. Okay, and as you can see, it's working fine. We have the A letter and the whole tape, where in the third position we have the number 97. Now we will need to implement loops, which will be the most difficult part for our interpreter. Okay, so we wrote some code and we've added 3 new variables. Is looping, which will tell us if we are currently inside of a loop, and loop stack, which will keep track of every single Brainfuck loop, and inner loops, which is a counter which keeps the number of active Brainfuck loops. We also refactored the way we use JavaScript loops, and that will make things a bit easier for us when we have to implement the starting of a loop and the ending of a loop. So yeah, let's try if this is working with a simple hello world program. And as you can see, it's working fine. So we can try with something a bit more difficult. Let's try with the famous 99 battles program. As you can see, this is huge. I've copy-pasted this because, it would be a bit difficult for me to write this live. And yeah, as you can see, it's still working fine. So we've been able to create a kind of dynamic program. I don't know how to how we can consider this program, but it's working fine. So that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments below if you have any other programming language that you would like to explore with me, and see you next time.